From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
A lot of exciting things are happening behind the scenes, that's all I can say. It's just fun to actually count in humanity, to actually be on the side of the good guys, and to sleep good at night and have a good conscience. And I just thank God every day. I just thank God every day that I didn't go over to the dark side. Let's go to somebody else who's fighting the dark side. Bob Chapman ran the biggest gold and silver private brokerage firm in the world, was in military intelligence before that, had the largest newsletter until the 90s when he retired. He came back out of retirement. It's one of the biggest again, the internationalforecaster.com. And Bob, of course, is instrumental with G. Edward Griffin and with Gary Allen and others putting out books and publications. He helped finance and put out None Dare Call It Conspiracy, the book that woke me up. I already had a lot of pieces of the puzzle, but I guess I read it when I was about 13, 14. And so we really always love having Bob Chapman on with us. I want to take a lot of calls today, Bob, which I know you always like to do. So that's coming up in the next segment. So much is going on. But what is most important on the economic front right now, Bob?
Well, there's a number of things, but I want to make a comment to what you were talking to Ron Paul about at the very end, and that was this supposed Taliban has a nuke. I have a direct line into the Ranger outfit that's guarding the nuclear facilities in Pakistan. And, you know, if they had gone into those facilities in any way, we'd know about it.
It's ridiculous. What, Pakistan's got 15, 20 nukes, and they're all... Well, there's 15, 20 nukes max in Pakistan. They're totally guarded. The U.S. government labs helped AQ Khan build them. Well, I mean, explain how asinine it is to go on Fox for people and say the Taliban stole a nuke out of a base.
Well, I don't think that there's any that they could steal because they're not at bases, and if they have one, they had to have gotten it from someplace else. And I don't think China or Russia or anybody else, England, France, I don't think they were about to give them a nuclear device. So it's all poppycock.
It really is ridiculous.
But it is dreadful the way that they come out on these major news media outlets and don't tell the truth.
Oh.
But anyway, the big news now is in the news. Of course, the stock market's up because the worse the news gets, the more the market goes up. And it's up 132 points today. But it will go back down again, believe me. The big news. Number one, by June 1st, General Motors will probably be out of business. Chrysler will probably be out of business next week.
Yeah, let me just throw this in, and then I want to get your take on it, because I forgot to make this point. I was watching Fox, CNN, all the channels, just kind of scanning today, and then I was scanning radio driving into work, and they were saying on there, like it was a good thing, they're going to chop Chrysler and GM up in lots of little pieces, instead of that infrastructure being national security, with all the money that, you know, we're going to have socialism, that should be kept there. No, they're saying they're going to just sell it off to foreigners, including the head of Fiat, who's one of the co-chairs of Bilderberg. Go ahead.
You're absolutely right about that. And they've been deeply involved in Bilderberg. It's an aluminous company, Fiat. And so they're talking about Chrysler going down next week. I think Ford will make it. I think one of the reasons why is that they cleaned inventory in a very logical and simple way. What they've been doing with their excess vehicles is shipping them out of the country, and they're selling them at employee cost. That's what they call it. But you know, you can buy a $32,000 vehicle for $25,000 if you live in Italy or Mexico or Chile or wherever. And they've been discounting, I guess for about probably 6 months now. And so they've cleaned up their inventory. They're not making a lot of money, but they're making a little money. But they're not sitting on the inventory of cars that others are. And I think it's really helped them. It was very, very smart. instead of getting into this, well, we'll give you 60 months.
Well, they also didn't take the bailout money and actually spent family money and other things that still own a large share, knowing that the feds were going to come in and take control of Ford. They said that, 5 months ago?
That's correct. That's correct. And so anyway, I think they got a shot at it. It's not going to be any piece of cake. They may need help too, but I think that they'll stay in business, and I'm happy about that. At least one of them will survive. Chrysler was a smaller company, and General Motors is really the one that hurts employment-wise and structurally for America. And this is all the result. And the problems that we're having in the economy are all a result of free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing. This is where it all comes from. Anyway, the second large item today is the statements made by the CEO of Bank of America, which now owns Merrill Lynch. He said that he was told when he wanted to kill the Merrill Lynch deal that he had to make the deal. And he was told that by Mr. Paulson, who was told to say that by Mr. Bernanke. So you have a private organization telling people what to do in America, and I'm sure they told him that if he didn't do what they told him to do, his life would be one long misery after that. And, of course, Paulson is on record now of having said that to him, and it also included the bonuses. He didn't want to do the bonuses after the deal was done with Merrill, and they said, you better do them or we're going to fire the board and you too. And so he wanted to keep his job, so he lied. This is Lewis, the head of Bank of America, and he broke the law, and he screwed the shareholders who didn't know that these things were going on. And Mr. Bernanke and Mr. Paulson have both stepped over the line. They've both broken the law. Now, whether that means anything or not in our life in Washington today remains to be seen. I mean, they get these two guys from AIPAC who are supposed to go on trial, and they're talking about not trying them. I mean, the whole thing is upside down. So in Washington, they do anything they feel like doing, so they probably won't do anything about these people breaking the law.
In fact, that's
the
another
very fact that they've done it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The very fact that they've done it, the lying, the perpetual lying and duplicity and deceit. I mean, these people are totally, without compunction, they're totally evil.
Well, that was my next question. I want to get back into Pelosi and this other congresswoman and bragging that, we'll cover up Israeli spies. And then on top of that, you have Geithner saying, I don't have to pay taxes. I'll just run the Treasury Department. In the past, if you had any tax trouble, you couldn't be a mail boy, at a Treasury facility in any connection. Or if your company had any tax problems, you couldn't do business. You couldn't supply, water cooler water or coffee for them. And now it's just, it literally is going to seed. And then Iran grabs this spy. I'm not defending Iran, folks, okay? The whole issue is this is reality. She confesses. They have one of their little legalese courts. And then they say, how dare you? We need to invade Iran. You're being mean to her. Your courts aren't real. While they torture people for 7 years and then roll it out as evidence and say that they can grab U.S. citizens under the Military Commissions Act and enemy combatant designation, that we have no rights. So when we torture, it's good, but when they just try someone for spying, and then meanwhile, Bob, the White House, going back for years, and it's been all over the news, as you know, but for those that haven't checked, they admit they're using Wahhabist Sunnis to attack Iran and stage terror attacks inside the country. That's admitted, mainstream news. So they admit they're spies. Israel announced they've got spies and destabilization operations in Iran. It's all admitted. They're assassinating people. It's on record. They grab a spy, and our media says it's impossible. There's no such thing as spies. Oh, they're horrible. I mean, the propaganda is so brutish. Go ahead.
Well, I think they've, again, reached this point of arrogance that they don't care, but they've got military operations going on inside of Iran, both Israel and the United States, and been going on for a long time. And it's wrong. And you're right about what you say, and here they're making an issue out of somebody get caught spying. Well, they do it all the time. They've done it for years. AID for years and years has been a CIA front, and there's been many others. And they set up one corporation, do their spying, and then shut it down, and then start another corporation.
And by the way, folks, they don't care about this woman. You might want to explain to them, Bob, if you're a spy and really get caught, like in Cambodia or Vietnam or Korea or Russia, they just write you off. Stalin grabbed 20-something thousand U.S. troops out of Nazi camps